Ajgor Bank is.
It is now 7 o'clock and it's time for the morning watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, Jamaica is 60 years old. Let's celebrate. And in the second watch, Bad Mind and Broken Hearts in gospel music. For our social media question, we ask, what are your biggest hopes and dreams for Jamaica? Please share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
If you want good, your nose off your run, meaning success takes great effort and sometimes sacrifice.
So true. Good morning, Deidre.
Good morning, Dr. Toussaint. How are you?
I'm doing well. How did you spend Emancipation Day yesterday?
Well, I was here for the Morning Express yesterday, and then I went home and I chilled. I relaxed.
You relaxed,
Yes.
okay. And you also reflected on emancipation and what it means
And
to
what
the
it means for,
society and everything.
yes, for Jamaica.
Yes, I did the same, and I found it quite meaningful. And it was good to look back on those facts that we have learned over the years in regards to emancipation.
And it was
And
good to have
society.
the activities back because it's been 2 years since we've had the activities outside.
The float and all of that,
Right.
yes, that took place. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the first watch will be back after this break.
It hurts if you don't check earth. The excellent customer service, our staff is knowledgeable and trustworthy. And we have a wide variety to supply society, and the price is right, yes, it's worth it. The solution to your auto parts links to one-stop shop, and we deliver to. So if you can't come in, just link with our WhatsApp or call and make your order. And remember, there's no other. So it hurts if you don't check first. So there's no need to search. It hurts if you don't check first.
Love 101 now presents Facts on Monkeypox. There are no treatments specifically for monkeypox virus infections. For mild cases of monkeypox, over-the-counter medications like ibuprofen and acetaminophen can help with symptoms. Avoiding skin-to-skin contact is the best way to limit the spread of monkeypox. That was Facts on Monkeypox, presented by Love 101 FM.
Hello! Rata just got better with a new Prime Rata bundle on Digicel, Jamaica's #1 LTE network. Serious? With up to 12 gigabytes of MU data, up to 2,000 minutes for calls, plus dedicated data on Digicel apps, which now includes data for Spotify, Apple Music, and HBO Max. There's no better plan for all your content needs this summer. Say less. Me gonna get a plan up on the My Digicel app. Mr. Rata! Activate a Prime Rata bundle today for as low as $175.
8884 Gastro. That's the only number you need to know. 8884 Gastro. Safety first, that's for sure. We feel it right. So when you're ready to light, day or night, the blue flame burns bright. So anytime you need cooking gas, call Gas Pro and you get it fast. 8884 match to the one you know. Gas Pro, gas professionals.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, August 1, yesterday, was of course Emancipation Day. August 6, Saturday coming, is Independence Day. And this week in August is all about celebrating those two events. But at 60, who remembers the original celebrations? And is there anything really to celebrate? Well, to discuss these questions and other related concerns, we have online Mr. Michael Nicholson, actor, director, consultant for the Jamaica Festival Queen Competition, and Ms. Joan Webley, attorney at law, artist, cultural activist, a Jamaican living in Italy, and now in Egypt working. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dylan. Thanks for the invitation. And Sir String Bean, it is an honor
Good morning.
to share
And
space.
thank
Good
you for having
morning.
me. Nice to see you.
Okay, good to have you both. Well, let's hit the ground running in terms of that question that was asked in the preamble. Who really is interested in the celebrations this week, and what is there to celebrate? Beginning with you, Mr. Nicholson.
Well, we've had a whole generation that was seeing a float parade for the first time yesterday. So that for us is a big deal, right? The country has opened up, and we were all out in our numbers celebrating the fact that we are emancipated, that we're no longer an enslaved people. And that followed through with the Festival Queen show last night, because once again, we've not been out in 2 years. So that in itself was a celebration. And come August 6th with the Grand Gala, again, something we've not seen in 2 years. That is also going to be cause for celebration too. And of course, the fact that we are an independent nation, and also clearly going towards becoming a republic soon. These are all causes for celebration, in my opinion.
Okay. Ms. Webley, your take?
No, listen, I agree. There's a lot of cause for celebration. And I think on a certain level, we are still, proud Jamaicans. That's one thing that's very true of all of us, wherever we may be. So there is that affection, there is that interest. But I think we're seeing the difference, because there's a marked difference in terms of the feeling and the sentiment. And I think that's not, I don't know that there's any one thing to blame, but it's probably just reflective of the world that we live in. We've come off of the back of 2 years of the strangest period of time I think anyone has ever endured. And so this celebration may not be in such a full swing as usual. And there are a number of reasons for that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I want to drill down into that though, because there are those who are saying, we have not achieved much since 1962. And they're wondering, really, isn't all of this like a facade? It's just, we are supposed to celebrate, but now we're talking about 60. Mr. Nicholson, how do you respond to those persons?
Well, I'm not too sure if there's a period when a country becomes independent where they're supposed to be at 1, where they're supposed to be at year 10, where they're supposed to be at year 20, or where they're supposed to be at year 60. Each country, just like an individual, grows in different ways, makes different choices, and as a result, it shows what their progress has become as a result. A lot of countries have taken principles and schedules that we have put together and have used them for themselves, and they have progressed as a result. And I think Jamaica is no different. There are a lot of good things that are happening in Jamaica. There are a lot of bad things that are happening in Jamaica. But the question is, what are the good things that are happening? And the progress that we're making, how much progress are we making compared to whom? Compared to other countries? I think we've done really well in a lot of things that we've done. There are a lot of things that we have in our country and systems that we have in our country that a lot of other Caribbean countries don't have, which makes us proud to be citizens and gives us reason to celebrate. There are a lot of good things that have happened as a result.
Mm. And Miss Webley, with the crime and the violence, the financial setbacks and mishaps, what is there to
Listen, I have
celebrate?
to agree with Michael again to a certain point. I am not going to paint the bleak picture. Jamaica is only 60 years old. 60 may seem old to some persons, but when you look at the globe and
Mm-hmm.
you look at nations and their history, it's still a relatively young country. That being said, I would I would not be being honest if I didn't share that I do feel that we have in some respects failed our youth, in some respects failed ourselves, and I think that there are things that we could be doing better. The issue of crime and violence is one that we can't begin to unpack today, and we really do have to
Mm-hmm.
recognize the impact that it's having on us as a nation, the
Sure.
impact, how much it's changing who we are as Jamaicans, because I really do recognize a shift in our culture. Yes, I'm not living there now, but it's fairly recently that I was, and I just visited a month ago. So
Mm.
the temperature and the mood and culture evolves. So definitely we could never think that we would stay the same. But it is a little bit disheartening to see that some of our traditions are not as entrenched as you would hope they would have been. It really just feels as if we're losing ourselves and our cultural identity in some ways.
Yeah. Miss Webley, it's interesting you mentioned about the youth. As
Yeah.
far as you are aware, yeah, are our youth appreciating or even understanding the history and the concepts of emancipation and independence as they should? What do you think?
I don't know that I'm qualified to speak on it, but I would have to say no. I would have to say no. I do not believe that our youth have grasped the totality of it, and I do not blame them for it. As I said before, I really do think in some ways we have failed our youth. Jamaica, when we say we're a cultural super state, we have every right to say it. Having lived, now I'm living in the sixth country that I've been fortunate enough to live in, and what we do
Mm,
as a people is not normal. What we do as a people is special. It is unique. I don't know of any other country in the world with the size that we are that is achieving what we are. And if I can only imagine if we put the proper systems in place, and again, I have to agree with Mr. Nicholson, it's not that we are the worst. I'm not trying to say that we are devoid of any systems or structures. And I understand that it's a journey and a process. But in terms of what I would have liked to see for a country that so many recognize is a cultural factory. I
mm,
would have loved to see a little bit more structural support for our youth so that they're able to really achieve and continue to achieve at a greater rate. I think there's much more that we could be
yeah,
doing.
yeah. Mr. Nicholson, as you are aware, prior to 1962, emancipation was officially celebrated as a holiday. Then it, was no longer celebrated because of the independence. Then it was reinstituted in 1997, I believe.
Yes.
What are your views on how it is being celebrated today?
Well, each year from 1997, it differed as to, the reading of the proclamation, where it actually happened, where the proclamation was actually read to reenact those kind of things until, as our years progressed, we decided to use Seville as one of those places. Like one of our first enslaved people was actually buried at Seville, and as a result of this, we decided to go with um, celebrating emancipation, or that Seville being the core, because three different peoples were actually um, entombed there: the Taínos, the Spanish, and of course
Mm,
our enslaved Africans. And you might be aware of the fact that we had in fact sent home one of our enslaved people back to Ghana, and that was a big deal because they were buried at the back of the Seville Great House, and was subsequently reinterred in the front of the Great House. So homage had been paid there as one of the places that our whole history started in. Because if you look at the parish of St. Anne and the area of Seville, you literally have 500 years of documented history just in that strip alone. So with that kind of information and our celebration of emancipation, that is a big deal. And the fact that we're able to do that, we could have a national
mm,
holiday and celebrate the fact
mm,
that we're not just independent. In this case, we are celebrating the fact that we're no longer an enslaved people. We were freed on that day. All right. Our lives became our
Yeah.
own, and we started to make way in becoming
Yeah.
a nation. That for me
All right.
is something to celebrate on August 1.
Yes. Okay. Well, we're up on a break, lady and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Get better coverage for yourself and your family as low as $800 a month. The time buy JN Life Vest from JN Life Insurance is
7:16 a.m.
Love 101 presents Facts on Monkeypox. The monkeypox virus comes from the same family of viruses as smallpox, but it is not related to chickenpox. Common symptoms of monkeypox are fever, headache, muscle aches, and swollen lymph nodes. Monkeypox also causes a rash that looks like raised bumps on the skin. The virus typically spreads through bodily fluids or by touching the rash of someone who has monkeypox. Animals can also pass the virus to humans either by being scratched or bitten by the animal or by preparing, eating meat, or using products from an infected animal. That was Facts on Monkeypox, presented by Love 101 FM.
Under the Law helps you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. We've been doing it for 50 years. That's right. The program is brought to you on Wednesdays by the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy. Under the Law, Wednesdays at 6:20 a.m., 2:35, 6:45, and 9:10 p.m. on Love 101 FM.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. And in this, the first watch, we're looking at the whole matter that Jamaica is 60 years old and our celebrations therein. And in so doing, we have online Ms. Joan Webley, attorney at law, artist, cultural activist, Mr. Michael Nicholson, actor, director, consultant for the Jamaica Festival Queen competition. Welcome back to our program, to you both. Good to have you again. All right,
Thanks again.
with us. Great. Well, let's now look at this week in more detail. There are activities that are lined up for the celebrations this week. Yesterday was your thing, Mr. Nicholson. The
Yes.
Festival Queen thing took place, and congratulations to the winner and the participants. We're supposed
Thank
to.
you.
We had the float parade yesterday. We're supposed to have Melo around. What again? Independence Watch Night, Grand
Yes.
Gala, street dance. All
That's
of those
right.
things are lined up for this week, right? Enough things are going on
Yes.
this week.
No.
All right. Beginning with you, Miss Webley. What are your views on the official activities that have been announced for this week? Are they up to scratch?
Well, up to scratch is dependent on once you go there and see it happen. I know we're planning a spectacular grand gala, and then look, everybody's looking forward towards that. We have approximately 1,500 children, well, not quite 1,500, about 800 children from across the country who are getting ready for the Mellow-go-round, which is going to be taking place in the National Indoor Center, and that's full family entertainment. It's a kind of entertainment where all the children from across the island who have entered the competition, the performing arts competition, are now going to show how well they have they're able to perform. And it's usually the pieces of entertainment value. Some of them are a lot deeper than that they add to the show, and that in itself is going to be a spectacle. And it's full family entertainment, and that's a good thing about the work that the JCDC has been doing and putting in for the people of Jamaica. So we are looking forward to that, or you should be looking forward to that. But as to it being up to scratch, we have always tried our best to make sure, in the case of the Festival Queen show, that we do put on a show of a very, very high standard. And let me tell you something, this year, the queens who have come in from across the island, they have wooed everybody that they've spoken to, right from government right through to the opposition, right to His Excellency the Governor General. Everybody has been asking, where did these ladies come from? We've just, I mean, we've had queens come in each year, but this particular group, they were exceptional, and I must say I'm proud of every one of them, including our current queen now, Miss Velanese um, Bowen. So I'm very proud of them and
Great,
their work.
great, and congrats to you and the team. Miss
Thank you very
Webley,
much.
yeah, the activities.
Yeah, I think, we are always we do but we punch above our weight always, and I feel like not only the JCDC but so many agencies in Jamaica um do so much with so little. Again, I go back to the argument of wishing that we were properly equipped, or that point of view. I hear what Mr. Nicholson said, and I agree. The proof is in the pudding. We won't know if it's up to scratch until we attend. So I hope everyone that's listening does attend. But speaking as a member of the diaspora, and speaking to the kind of tooling that I would love to see in our cultural industries, I instantly wonder, is all of this going to be properly documented? Do they have the capacity to film this? Will they be able to then produce it in a package, and be able to exhibit it and distribute it, so that
Mhm.
all of this magic that happens isn't a one-time thing that is lost? um I just go back to that point. And then I was most interested, of course, I'm going to miss the celebrations myself, but the festival song and how that played out as well
Yes.
was of course interesting for all of us. Personally, I really felt it, because I had actually submitted a song this year
Oh.
that did
Ah,
not make the cut.
ah.
It was one of the first batch of the 100 odd. And so I'll be trying again next year.
Yes.
And I hope that, I think we can perhaps sit and reimagine some of these things, because I heard the criticisms that the judges made of the festival song, for example. And I know that I would have fallen within that, because I did a song that was quite hip hop influenced. And
Mm.
so when I heard the conversation or comment from judges that some of the cultural material wasn't Jamaican enough, it brings us back to the bigger conversation
Mm.
of what do we claim as Jamaican culture? How far do we allow
Absolutely.
ourselves to go? How far do we allow our culture to evolve? Our Jamaican cousins part of the family, or do we accept,
Mhm.
different variations of what we do? Because I think as Jamaican people, experimentation has always been one of our strongest points. And so whilst we want to entrench our culture and who and how we are, where do we give the room for the growth of our culture and our people?
Mm.
That I think, and maybe we can reimagine some of them, but I'm sure they'll be great, and I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to it.
Yeah, there's the view out there, whether we want to accept it or not, like it or not, that the independence vibe is low key. At
Yeah.
least the independence 60 vibe is low key. If that is truly so, what are the possible reasons or causes for that, would you say, Miss Webley?
I, yeah, I have to go back to the comment that I made at the start, and that's to deal with our ability to equip our people and do enough service to our people, and the fact that we've come out of this pandemic period. I think it's the first time, at least in my recollection, and in many persons that I know, that the whole world was sort of united in dealing with a situation more than we've ever
Mhm.
been before. It wasn't just some random thing that was happening somewhere else. It was happening to all of us as a humanity. And so I
Mm,
think the isolation and the nationalization, or national focus,
Yes.
just being focused on yourselves and how you are
Mhm.
as Jamaicans, we really saw ourselves as part of the world conversation in a much realer sense. And I think those things, we,
mm,
we can't undermine the impact that has on the psyche, on the spirit, perhaps that's part of the reason why we are not so focused on our Jamaicanness and celebrating Jamaican
Mhm.
independence, because we are recognizing more and more how interconnected the world is. And I think we really all want to be a part of that. And when I speak about
Mhm.
what we're not doing for our youth and not doing for our culture, I'm meaning about us being a bigger part of the international conversation.
Mhm.
If I'm hearing you correctly, before I ask Mr. Nicholson the same question, if I'm hearing you correctly, Miss Webley, are you saying that the pandemic perhaps has a lot to do with this low vibe that we are experiencing? Is that
I
what you're
think
saying?
so, and not
Okay.
directly, but I think indirectly. I think the fact that more Jamaicans started working, started distance working, for example, so we're or remote working, and we're working for
Right.
international organizations, and or that persons like myself, because I relocated during the pandemic as well. I think
Mm,
there is a shift in the focus, um, and I think there is a the realization of where we are not is overwhelming.
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. Mr. Nicholson, what's your take on that?
Well, I think at first we were being cautious because we were watching the rest of the world as to whether or not we could, in fact, fully open up the country. Because, yeah, we're about to celebrate our 60th anniversary. The whole argument of a mass mandate, not to have a mass mandate, mass gatherings, not to have a mass gathering. And if we do decide to do a present celebration, how controlled should it be? We had to be very cautious with that. And with monkeypox coming in, and I'm just speaking from the standpoint
An
of an
organizer.
event planner and what you
Hmm.
need to do. And based on the COVID protocols that were either in place or not in place, how we in fact deal
Yeah.
with that as a result. I think we managed to go with the relays, and the relays happened, and there wasn't very much fallout as a result of that. We were able to put people back in the stadium safely. And I guess the numbers, we kept them at a certain percentage. I'm saying we kept them, meaning the government of Jamaica. And as I said, I'm not speaking on their behalf, I'm speaking from what I'm reading and seeing. And as a result
Yeah.
of now having the celebrations for independence, it was like, okay, all systems go. But all systems go took some time for all systems to go, because we were treading carefully to make sure that it was safe to do so.
Mm,
So hence
yeah.
it
And
might feel a little low key, but in fact, we managed to get the information out there. The people turned out, and so far, so this is the first time that the indoor sports arena has been almost packed fully to capacity, um, since the pandemic. So
yeah.
this was, of course, a big deal for us last night.
Dylan, may I
Yeah.
say something, Dylan?
Yeah. Go ahead, Joanne.
Sorry, I also wanted to comment it while I'm acknowledging the pandemic aspect, I really also think that, there's just a shift in the way that we're consuming culture right now as well. So
Mhm.
I don't think we can underestimate the impact of technology, social media, cable
Yes.
TV, all of those things. I
Mhm.
remember when I was younger, we all of the content came from one source, one or two sources. So
Yeah.
Yes.
in terms of being able to galvanize and centralize people around a core thing,
Yes.
it would have been way simpler to do so when festival songs like Chiquitita and all of those were out.
Mhm.
You only had a JBC, then a CVM. There wasn't much to choose from,
True.
and so it was easier to get the attention of persons. I think right now everybody's in their phone so much. Everybody is on the internet.
Mhm.
Everybody's is watching
But Joan,
cable TV.
but Joan, wouldn't that same point be used on the other end of the spectrum? That with all of these in social media, we have more access now to reach the masses
Yes,
in
yes,
real
and no.
time. In real
And maybe it's
time.
a shift in focus. Maybe
Mhm.
maybe more attention needs to be placed on the digital aspects of communicating. I'm not an organizer, I'm not aware, but I do think that we can't underestimate how much, information is coming at us all in such a rate right now that although you're seeing more, maybe you're not registering as much as you did before,
Mm,
if I'm making
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Well, the way forward now, lady and gentlemen, what do you think? Looking forward, what should we do as a nation? What needs to be done? What should we stop doing? Mr. Nicholson and then June.
Well,
1 minute each.
all right, we have
No,
taken
half
full
half a minute.
advantage.
Half a
Okay,
minute.
we've
Half a
taken
minute.
full
Sorry.
advantage of social media and are doing well with that. We do need to unite ourselves as a people. We do need to start caring for each other more. We just basically need to behave ourselves and set a goal for the country, as opposed to just us as individuals. And definitely focus on our youth, because they are the ones who are going to be taking over all of this after we're
Yeah.
gone. So we have
Yeah.
to make sure that we emphasize working with our youth and helping them and pushing them and upgrading them.
All right. Half a
Absolutely.
minute.
I could
Miss
just
Webby.
say ditto because I agree wholeheartedly. I endorse also the Project Star that I see coming out of Jamaica. I think we all need to centralize around that. And
Mhm.
I am on the right station to say, bring back the love. That's our
Absolutely.
song too. We
Yes.
really need to,
Bring back the
Yeah,
love.
as a
Yes.
people, if there's one central focus, that's it,
Mhm.
because
yeah.
that's who we were as a core, and that's what we can't lose as much as we change.
Yes.
Thanks to you both for an interesting, informative discussion, and
Appreciate the
enjoy the
opportunity.
celebrations.
Thank you so
Whether
much
you
for
are
having me.
in Jamaica, or in Egypt, enjoy the
Yard or
celebrations.
abroad.
All
Listen,
right.
my Egyptian taxi driver spoke nothing but new Bob Marley.
What?
Wow.
No
Great,
English.
great. All right. Thank you. All the best.
Take care,
Blessings.
Joan. All the
Take
best.
care. Nice to meet you. Take care.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Talk to Jane Bank today to find out about achieving your own sweet home in 30 days. The time by Jane Bank Mortgage is
7:31 a.m.
Juicy patty them double up the choices. And we know say you want go like it. And you face start your morning off right with a cup of porridge full up of beer niceness. Two combination which one we try first. When you a go to school or you a go to work. Forward we double can fit twice the flavor. Or could the pecan you end up a beer for. Try our pecan porridge. That's peanut mixed with hominy. Or our double corn porridge. That's hominy mixed with cornmeal. Try it today at Juicy Patties.
Available at participating stores. 8884 Gas Pro. That's the only number you need to know. 8884 Gas Pro. Safety first, that's for sure. We feel it right. So when you're ready to light, day or night, the blue flame burns bright. So when you time you need cooking gas, call Gas Pro and you get it fast. 8884 Gas Pro. Get attached to the one you know. Gas Pro, the gas professionals.
What herbs are mentioned in the Bible and in what context? Is marijuana one of them? Some of us burn it to cleanse a space for physical healing or spiritual purposes. But is that okay? Is there a special way to use these things? Are there good herbs and bad herbs? And what does the Bible say? Tuesday, August 2 on The Rock, join host Bishop Hero Steve Blair and guests Bishop Grace Adigold and Crystal Daly as they discuss the topic incense and herbs. That's The Rock, Tuesday, August 2 at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, Jamaica urged to boost exports to Bahamas. Also, too early to say hate crime. Presumed gay couple murdered in Maxfield. Unease reported over cohabiting arrangement. And then Shagurik slams cheating in Denby Parish competitions. Wonder what's that about. In the Observer, jubilation, emancipation float parade brings joy, national pride to Jamaicans. Also in the Observer, man, best friend and wife, gunned down in early morning attack. And then Dottin blames team environment in shock retirement. Those are some of the major stories and headlines in our newspapers. Now, coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. What are your biggest hopes and dreams for Jamaica? What are your biggest hopes and dreams for Jamaica coming out of our first watch? Please leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
He knows my name. Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please
Talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of global crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today. 876-220-6474. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church.
This is a reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
He knows my name. Our music rocks the world.
Our athletes run the world.
And our culture brings the whole world to our shores.
After 60 years of independence, we have so much to celebrate. And if that wasn't enough, Sagicor Bank is giving you 60,000 more reasons to celebrate. From now until August 31, every $6,000 you spend on your Sagicor Bank credit card gives you a chance to be one of 60 winners of $60,000.
That's a whole heap of celebration.
Spend with your Sagicor Bank credit card for your chance to get 60,000 reasons to celebrate. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Deidre for a look at how our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. What are your biggest hopes and dreams for Jamaica? Deidre.
Karine Marriott says, good morning, that we will be a crime-free Jamaica. Nicole says she wished for us love and unity. That's what we need. Edna from Bay.
Good morning, Mr. Dylan Toussaint. Good morning, Deidre. Good morning to the guests.
Morning.
And the listener of Love 101 and the Morning Watch. My greatest hope for Jamaica is just to see the national anthem and the national pledge be manifest in every way, every line. That's my greatest hope for Jamaica right at this moment. Thank you.
In relation to your question that was posed about what are our biggest plans for Jamaica, I am hoping that the government can call a national day of prayer and fasting, where we not shut down the country, not really shut down the country, but pray when we have the time, dedicate an hour to prayer and pray against the social ills that are facing the country, chief of which is crime and violence. Get that monster out of our country so that people can live more productive and meaningful lives. So call a prayer and fasting meeting where we pray as a nation, fast as a nation, to help bring down crime and all its elements. I think this would work.
That comment there from Kemoy. Now, Blinky from St. Elizabeth, he says that he thinks people need to know God more. That is what he wants.
Okay, that's it, Deidre.
One more just came in. My hope for Jamaica is that we get back to the place where we love one another and be our brother's keeper. That's from Luna Isaacs.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks to all those who responded. I think they're all on the same note in regards to, our nation and, of course, our focus on God, loving each other. Thanks to all. As we now segue into the second watch, on the 19th of July, popular dancehall artist Merciless was found dead. Some have speculated that he died of a broken heart. We, of course, don't know why. And we're not here to talk about Merciless per se, but it has given us pause as we consider those in the gospel music industry. What's going on there? And so to discuss these and other related issues, we have joining us in this, the second watch, Ms. Cheryl Newville, Treasurer, Chairperson of PR Committee, the Public Relations Committee, Jamaica Federation of Musicians and Affiliates Union, JFMAU, and she's the Public Relations Marketing Specialist at Newville Management and Communications Limited. We also have online Mr. Patrick Kitson, singer, guitarist, songwriter, producer, and of course the founder of Change Gospel Group. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Doc.
Oh, great to have you both join us. And I trust you are doing well.
Yes, we are. We're giving God thanks, you know.
Yes.
Every day when we wake up, we really have to thank God. It could be worse, you know.
Yes. Especially under the circumstances. Okay.
Yes.
Well, our topic this morning is about, bad-mindedness and brokenheartedness in gospel music. Do gospel artists really face such challenges and have such experiences as other popular artists? Beginning with you, Ms. Newville.
Yes. Gospel artists, we're human. You know, remember everybody is human.
Mm-hmm.
And so the human emotions are real.
Yeah.
So let me go back a little. You know, when we get saved,
yes,
we go through the process and all of that, and then there are still little ways in us that we need to be delivered from. And so I find that unless we go through those times of deliverances and so forth, there are little open doors there that little bad mind and little things come in. And so we operate just like we would before we were saved, if you understand what I mean. So,
yes.
When you come into the gospel music industry, you think that it should be a little different from what you're coming out of. You're coming out of the popular music where, people do anything they say, you know what I mean? And you figure that it will be a little different. But alas, when I got into the gospel music industry, I mean, I've been in the industry since 1986 and got into gospel music in 1998 sort of thing, you know? And I really saw a lot of conflict and so much so that in 2000, Patrick and I, we went to the Gospel Music Association convention in Nashville, Tennessee, and we thought to take some Jamaican music up to represent the artists.
Mm-hmm.
And we touched base with Jampro, who decided to sponsor us. They came with us, and so. And do you know that someone who was already very large, very big, in the gospel music industry called Jampro to ask why are they sponsoring us to go? And it was a big thing. We were so hurt because those people had been going for a long time and did not seek to represent Jamaica's gospel music. They represented themselves, their people, and they did not seek to represent our gospel music. And this is what we were trying to do, and they tried to shut us down. And that was really amazing for us. We couldn't believe it. It was heart wrenching. I should put it that way. Not amazing. It was just heart wrenching.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to say more on that. I just want to bring in at this juncture, Mr. Kitson. What's your take on that?
Well, I've been in the gospel music industry for many years. I started playing with a band when I was 14. I think it was 1972, somewhere there. And for me, it was like a great opportunity. But of course, as you settle in and getting involved in the business, knowing where the concerts are and who the artists are, so you get acquainted with them. But everybody have their story. And sometimes when you hear the stories, it's like, really? That happened? They're doing that? And it hurts deep down. And it happened, and it is still happening. I won't call any names or anything, but you hear some stories like, this is happening in Christendom. Wow, I didn't know. Because there was a time when I was kind of low keyed and you just listening to all the new artists and the music and stuff. And when you meet up some of them and they tell you what goes on at the concert, it's like, wow. Because I used to attend most of the concerts just to give support to the artists. And
Tell you what, Mr. Kitson, we want to hear more about those stories without calling names. So we are up on a break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
You're invited to listen to Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. We'll give you tips on how to make your money count, how to save, and how to grow your worth. It's all inside Dollars and Cents, brought to you by BPM Financial Limited, taking you higher. That's Dollars and Cents every Thursday at 8:16 a.m. on the family station Love 101.
Road safety. Love 101, the family station, invites you to Take Time Drive. You can hear reminders and tips on why you should take time drive. On Tuesdays, Take Time Drive is brought to you by Bert's Auto Parts. It hurts if you don't check Bert's. And on Wednesdays, Take Time Drive is brought to you by AIM Financial Corporation Limited. AIM Financial Corporation has a loan for every purpose. Take Time Drive, a bulletin of the road safety tips to help you keep safe and your head sound while driving. You only have one life. Drive it well. Take Time Drive on the family station Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and we are continuing our discussion on the topic bad mind and broken hearts in gospel music. And in so doing, we have online Mr. Patrick Kitson, singer, guitarist, songwriter, producer, founder of Change Gospel Music, Gospel Group, and Ms. Cheryl Newville, treasurer, chairperson, Public Relations Committee, Jamaica Federation of Musicians and Affiliate Union. Welcome back to our program to both of you. Mr. Kitson, before the break, you were telling us about some of the experiences that people have. Some of the stories.
Yes. You know, I mean, when I used to hear the stories, I mean, most of it, like really serious things happening. And in my day, I didn't experience stuff like that. But when you hear what was happening, it kind of makes you chuckle and, you know, wow, I can't believe that. Some of them I really don't remember because there are so many. But I remember one particular one when an artist said to me, when some new artists came in and
gospel artists you're talking, Mr. Kitson? Gospel artists? Okay.
Gospel artist. And she was very unhappy about what was happening because she now got saved and the others got saved too. But they were more out there, they were more popular. And she was so upset that none of them were making references to her or suggest that she can be on that show and this show, and it was just so funny. And needless to say, you know, it kind of turned now, and she's on top, and she's just enjoying the ride. It's I don't know.
So what shocked you was that in the world, quote unquote, you didn't experience that at that level. And in the gospel music industry, that's what you encountered. That's what you're saying, Mr. Kitson?
Yeah, well, I wasn't into pop music. I was always into gospel music from a child. So I came up with the Otis Wrights and the gospel light band and Inside Gospel Group, just to name a few. So I am strictly gospel. That is where, of course, my dad was a pastor. My brothers or pastors too. So born and growing at the church, still there.
Yeah. Miss Newville, what role would you say demographics plays in this in terms of gender, color, class, and creed?
Plays in the inciting, in the
Yes,
music industry?
yes, the bad mind and the broken heart. If at all, does it play any role?
I don't think so. I don't think it plays any role at all. People are just people, and people just have their own selfish desires. I came out of the pop arena, and in pop, in those days, we were like a family. You gather at a stage show, and everybody knows everybody and everybody's child and so forth. We celebrate the birth. We cry with the funerals. It was a real family. You know, the little bickering and stuff, you're expecting that. But nobody's going to, a promoter is going to call an artist and ask for John Brown, and you say, you don't know where John Brown is. Why don't you use this one and that one instead? That wasn't what obtained in those days. Now, in gospel, when I stepped in there, this is what I saw. You know, people calling and asking for an artist to say, no, you don't have that number. You have the number, you know, because you speak to them. But you're going to put your artist and say, use this person instead or whatever. You go to a show, you're not going to perform. You want this, the whole superstar thing. You're performing after this one and that one, or you're not going to perform and so forth. This really shouldn't happen in gospel. But it happens.
It happens.
You know? And then in recent years, in pop, I hear that this is what is now happening. You know, your little clique, you're gonna perform. You don't want this one not working with that one, and so and that. You know, this band is performing. No, they're not into that with that person. So it's happening all around. It's happening all around. But the Jamaica Federation of Musicians and Affiliates Union, we really want to bring everybody together because we want gospel, pop, everybody, all the musicians and the affiliates. We want them all together under the union so we can represent them properly. You know, we can help to set the standards and everything.
Yeah.
Under the umbrella of the union.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on that because you said something earlier that I think was very important in terms of our human nature. We're all humans, right? Isn't this the overriding reason for all of what you have expressed, both of you so far? That is not really the fact of singing gospel music or being involved in producing gospel music, but just our humanity, our humanness.
Our humanity.
Yes. The sinful aspect of us that is and this happens, this supersedes and goes beyond the gospel industry, as you are admitting. Okay.
Yes.
So your organization now, how will your organization, in a pointed way, address these issues and concerns?
All right. In the past, you know, the JFM was originally incorporated in 1958 under the trade union laws of Jamaica. And they did well for many years, many years, until just a few years ago, they just never got the support, and it was just one man carrying the mantle, you know. And so we revamped in 2017 with Karen Smith, and we've been really trying to take it to where it used to be, you know, to regain the former glory, where we had seminars, there were training opportunities, we did fundraisers for welfare opportunities for people. You know, we had an insurance that if persons, members die, their families would benefit, and they could bury them well and all of that. We had all of these things, and so we are trying to reinstate these things. That's what we're really trying to do now. And we believe that with one voice, if we could just be unified, and air our grosses under that one umbrella, I think it would all go well for the industry.
Yeah.
The JSM also represents in just improving your working conditions, maintaining fair prices for artists and so forth. And above all, we promote live music because sometimes this is the problem too. You know, you you take a job and it is tracked, and you leave your musicians out. They have been sweating with you, doing your promotions, and then suddenly you get a little break and you leave them behind. And what are they going to do? You go off on track, do the track shows.
Yeah,
They need to pay their bills as well.
Yes. Mr. Kitson, still with us?
Yes.
Yes. Certainly there are positives that we can talk about in the gospel music industry. Certainly, in spite of the bad mind and the broken hearts that are there are those who have sought to mend the wounds, have sought to reach out to persons. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, from my experiences, I was a great supporter of whosoever performing gospel. What I could do to help, if it is get you on a show, get you an article of some sort, then I will do that. Because if one fails, then it is setting up a landscape for the rest of us to fail. So I am helping. I am still helping. The other day when I wrote a song for a festival and I wanted a church choir to perform the song, I did not know where to go. And I was at a meeting with a friend of mine who was from a group too. And I just heard a voice say, Sam. And I went to him and I said, Pastor, I wrote a song for festival. I want a church choir to sing it. And he said, I am interested. I didn't know where his church was. I've never heard his church choir. But it's just like the atlas came off my shoulder. And we waited a month for the song to be confirmed as being in the final. It was a great experience. So you help, you will get help in return. And that is what we need to do. Just not, I don't want to perform after this one. I have to perform before that one. I just don't get it sometimes. When I hear the stories like, yeah, that is happening. So we have to seek, we have to help whenever we can. There's a door, there's a slice of the cake for everybody.
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 And I guess some people are saying that some people get bigger slices than others, and they don't like that. But thanks so much for joining us, both of you. We have looked into this whole matter, and I guess it has made us more aware of the fact of our humanity, regardless of whether we are Christians or not, whether we are gospel artists or not. And we all need to get back to basics in terms of God and His mercy and grace. So
and love our neighbor like we love ourselves. That's what we need to do.
Yes. And the songs, when people sing them, they need to live the songs that they sing and produce, not just singing them to get a vibe. All right. Thank you so very much for joining us, both of you. Have a productive day.
Thank you so much, Doug. You do the same too, please.
Bless you. All right. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information, how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-959627. This has been The Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint. Giving a shout out to the pastor and members of the Hope Bay New Testament Assembly Church. As I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Deirdre Parchment.
The NHF is here for you, helping Jamaican residents pay less